Welcome to EduAdvice podcast. Today we are joined by Mr. Karunakar Reddy, founder of DataLyca, an AI-driven platform working at the intersection of education, sports, fitness, and technology. Through the use of data, AI, and digital assessment tools, his work focuses on helping schools and institutes better understand student fitness, well-being, and performance. In today's conversation, we will explore the evolving role of fitness in education, the impact of technology on students' well being, and what schools, parents, and students can do to build a healthier lifestyle. Welcome to EduAdvice podcast, Karnakar. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So let's let's start with it. So my first question to you is, childhood obesity and sedentary lifestyle are becoming growingly concern across schools. From your perspectives, what are the key reasons behind these trends, and what can schools and parents do differently?
Right. So it is a major problem which parents as well the teachers have been seeing that, but it has been ignored field of concern as well. So many parents and teachers wrongly understood that the obesity means it's more of gaining weight or being fat or right. Rather, it is more of how good the student or the player has to be, right? In terms of fitness or in terms of flexibility or nimbleness, agility. So all those one has to inculcate as part of their growing age during their childhood days. So that will go on for lifelong help for them. So being a fit enough, right? So that actually help them to be start focusing on many other things. So nowadays, it's been whether agree or not, right? It's been the case where parents also putting more focus on only the academic part. Okay, not only parents, even the schools, because it has been a less prioritized field. But once this gets picked up, everything will be in place. So once someone is fit enough, because without health, no one can able to do anything, whatever their earning be, right? So my suggestion is, so though it has been less prioritized, people have to prioritize and start working on towards that.
Yeah, even I absolutely agree with these because in schools, if it is for 7 hours, they don't ensure 1 hour for playing section for the students. Like least priority is given for this particular aspect. And bringing awareness related to is very important because India is turning a largest obese country with largest obesity patients in India. So focusing
Right.
right from childhood is very important, as you mentioned.
Right.
Yeah, so my next question to is, why is measuring physical fitness as important as measuring academic performance, and how can schools use that information to improve the students' outcomes?
Right. So even again, this one also misunderstood or misconstrued, right? So where the physical fitness or the sports as such, right, is being considered as a competitive to the academics, but rather this both has to be complementary, right? So if someone is good enough in fitness level, right, they can able to put focus more on the academics, even if they read only once or twice. So any field for that matter, right? No one can able to continuously work for maybe 10, 12 hours on one particular field. They need to have some kind of deviation, and the good deviation always helps. So deviation here, nothing but not like being on screen or doing some other work, right? But rather doing something where they will be more physically active, or doing something where, if suppose, let's assume, right, you are playing badminton or table tennis, when the ball is traveling towards you, right, you are moving your hand, right? That actually improves your focus, concentration, right? So the same focus comes even to the studies as well.
Yeah, in fact, the mental health is and better growth of students is directly like the cognitive development is directly related to the physical fitness aspect of the child. So,
Right.
in order to ensure holistic growth and better cognitive development, sports is very important for students.
Right.
Yeah. So, my next question to you is, many people view physical activity and academics as separate areas. So, what does current evidence suggest about the relationship between fitness, concentration, learning outcomes, and overall academic performance?
Right, it is the same, right? So I just want to call out my experience with my son, right? So he is very good in badminton. Okay, so he actually, though we got some flexibility from the school where he started going to some academy for as part of the badminton coaching, right? So once he used to keep only 2 to 3 hours on daily basis on studies. Okay, so on some days he got flexibility to start maybe studying from the home. Okay, so that way he would able to score very well in his academic. The main reason being he can able to even read once or twice, right? So that focus, that concentration actually helped him to deep dive and understand basic concepts of the whatever the subject it is, right? So many times, right? So there are two aspects of even if someone is scoring well in academics, right? So one might be by hearting, right, multiple times without understanding the concept and just put everything on the exam and then get good score. And some people who understand the concept, right? So by not too much on studies, but still they can able to understand the concept and start working on, right? So, but the second set of people, the chances of being successful in either as an entrepreneur or any of those careers, right, is very high compared to the other people, right? So the same way, so when the someone who is equally good in sports can able to focus on the studies as well. Okay, so that's my personal observation. It is not only me. I spoke to a lot of other parents whose sons or daughters are in sports, right? They also say same thing. Okay, so even if my kid can able to study 2 3 hours in a day, he can able to pick up the topic, and he can able to even score very well in academics as well. Okay, it is a proven. There are multiple papers which has been published and is available in the Google internet, right? So where it clearly says that if someone is physically active, right? So either it can be sports or can be yoga or it can be anything, even if someone can be active by going to gym also, right? So those kids can able to very well do in academics.
So yeah, rather than skipping that 1 hour and saying that yeah, I would be topper, I would be topper, we they need to focus on these games and other activities, that is outdoor activities as well, because that in turn will give them boost in the academics.
Of course, right.
Yeah. So my next question to you is: students today are facing increasing level of stress, anxiety, and screen dependency. How important is physical activity in supporting mental health and emotional well-being?
Right. So it is not only for students, right? Even today there was article in Economic Times. So how the people from IT and the finance industry, right, have been struggling and the chances of getting heart attack more for them. The reason being, right? So there is more of no physical activity. They continuously sit for 6 to 8 hours, right? And even for lunch, even though they just come out from the seat, but still there won't be much of physical activity, right? So, but the same applies even for the student as well, right? So, if you are sitting, okay, and in your maybe the leisure period or whatever, right? So that time, if you again go back to the screen or doing something, right? So that won't help. I born and brought up in village where we, though we didn't have proper structure of physical education as such, right? But still we could able to play with others to the other people, other kids, right? So where there was no rules in terms of what to follow in terms of the game and all, but still we enjoyed, right? So and we used to go out and come back maybe 3 4 hours. There was no mobiles, no screens, nothing, right? The only way we could able to spend our free time is spend time with the other kids, right? Either playing with any other sport, right? So that's how we've been grown, right? So the same applies even for the students of this era, right? Where in case if the student is, I have seen some kids who have been playing only the video games, so they could not able to focus on anything. So given for them to come out for maybe just one round of walk, right? So the parents facing a lot of issue in terms of pushing them or forcing them to come out from their room. Okay, so they become very adamant and socially also they can't able to mingle. Okay, so there is the impact on every one not physically fit or physically healthy, right? So that get there will be a ripple effect on all other areas as well. Okay, so that way I strongly suggest. So whatever good the student, so whatever the sport they are good at, right? So or even if they are not good at any sport, just start playing anything, whatever possible, right? Or you just start doing yoga, right? So that you don't need anyone to be there also, right? You can do it on your own. So those kind of good habits that definitely be very helpful, and it's a lifetime kind of. So once they start inculcating these kind of good habits, right, it will be helpful throughout their life.
Yeah, now playing means they play video games. They should not do that. In fact, they should move outdoor, play various games, play in the sun. Like sunlight is very important for the skin. They are just playing means they are playing indoor, and that too in the mobile. Like they should really stop these, and your initiative, I feel it would be helpful to many of the students to not to be another obvious child. So, yeah, my next question to you is technology is transforming education, but physical education has often lagged behind. So, how can AI, computer vision, and data analytics help teachers make fitness assessment more objective, personalized, and actionable while reducing administrative workload for teachers?
Right. Yeah, precisely right. So what you said is correct. It is not only in India, right? Even I visited US as well as part of the product promotion. Okay, so it has been the same case even in US, Europe, or anywhere, right? So academics is been given high priority, but whereas physical education or fitness is not given the same priority level. Right. So, and when come to the technology aspect, right? Why technology is important here, right? So the same way how exams is being conducted. So assume the case where so the student will given the textbook and ask them to write the exam, right? They won't take that serious, right? So they may take the exam and just for the namesake, they just uh, move the papers and find out what is the question that being asked. So that same seriousness won't come. So why the students, irrespective of they attend the classes or they don't attend or they attend the school or right, so even some of them who have been as part of NIOS, right, at the open school, so they also put lot of effort in terms of learning and getting good marks. The reason being the exams are conducted seriously. The same serious, if you have to bring it in here in the physical education, right, you need to have technology. It is I spoke to one of the school's physical education teacher in Gwalior, right. So the teacher had told that he actually is responsible for around 1,200 students. So there is no other teacher. When I asked him how you assess the student in terms of how good their physical ability, right? So he said that he won't assess any student, but rather he gives some moderate values for each of the student on different aspect of their fitness level. Okay, so that way there is no seriousness. Okay, but whereas if you bring in the technology, there is no way that you can able to override anything, right? So it is all been subject objective way of assessing the student. When the student is been assessed saying that he could able to do 10 push-ups, it is same whether this teacher is assisting or somewhere else from the other school or other teacher, because there is no way you can able to override this kind of data, right? So then that student as a like what you asked, well, the in terms of the personalization, right? So that also be very helpful if you go with the technology aspect, where if the as a student, okay, so assume first when the student underwent the assessment, assume that the teacher, because of the way he assessed the subjective way of assessing, right? So he mentioned he probably might have given 8 push-ups, right? So the next time when he was being assessed, right, he might have given maybe 10 or 12 push-ups. So 8 also might not be correct or 12 also might not be correct, because this is more of subjective way of assessing the student. But whereas if you just start using the technology, it assesses the student exactly. If you have done the proper way of push-up, that only will be calculated as one push-up. Where you went wrong, you also have to understand that, start working on that. And next time when you do the push-up, okay, so you start performing much better way. right? So the same thing is not happening in many schools as of now, right? So either they assess the student just by using the subjective way of assessing, and mostly some of schools don't assess the student, okay, and they just give some more thing, moderate marks for everyone. Okay, so if you want to give some kind of personalized training or encourage the student to perform well, right? So for that, you require to have technology aspect where you can use any of the technology using computer vision, right? Where it automatically calculates in terms of how good your lower body strength, upper body core, or flexibility, endurance. So these are the different aspects where you can able to calculate, and you start measuring those against your own performance across the timeline, how you have been progressing. So that way the student also put more focus, start learning. And Buddies precisely helps with that. So where our product, where you one can able to just use smartphone, there is no extra equipment required. Use the smartphone, record when the student is performing, and one immediately you can able to understand how good their strengths are. Everything is being automated, and it is very in terms of the cost wise as well, it is very nominal.
Yeah, like this is quite innovative idea where AI has been integrated in every, like each and every part and parcel of a life. Integrating it in a positive sense, that is for physical activity, is very innovative, and I guess that will definitely help students better assess their physical fitness and ensure to be physically fit. So, my next question to you is, how can a data-driven fitness assessment help schools both identify sporting talent and ensure every student receives personalized support to improve their health and physical development?
Right. So here the data is very much important, but the second thing which one has to make a note is how you are getting the data. So if the data, if it is not a valid or not a reliable or credible data, then there is no point of even viewing the data, right? So whereas using any of the technology, once you get the credible data, right? So if you can able to identify, just to give an example, right? So some might be very good in broad jump. Okay, so from rural place, assume, right? So whereas if the student, once he does the broad jump, so if the technology says that he could able to do jump of maybe 280 centimeters for maybe fifth grade or sixth grade, whatever, right? So that is very good when come to for that age category and for that gender, right? So if that goes back to the government or maybe the head of district or head of the state, they can able to see the data and identify the student and start encouraging him or start supporting him in moving to the next level, right, where he can start performing at the state or national. Currently we don't have the data, and whatever the data available is all is mix of either reliable or maybe subjective assessing or objective. No one is being assessing as of now. Okay, it is more of subjective way of assessing the student. And the second part is in terms of once you get the data, right? So current way of the how you procure the data is it has to move to the Excel, then to the application. Okay, so there is a good chance that the data may, when you are transferring the data, right, that data may go wrong, right? But if you have to maintain the data the same as how you record the data, the same has to reflect in the report, right? So one has to go for the complete automation.
Yeah, so recognizing the talent very early would be very helpful to the students to reach the right stage. Like with these data driven assessment would be helpful to the students to recognize the talent well in advance. So, my next question to you is, if you look ahead 5 to 10 years, what will distinguish schools that successfully integrate physical education into overall student development from those who don't?
All right. So nowadays, even parents also try understanding, right? So they also getting educated in terms of how much importance has to be given for physical education and fitness, right? So that way, when the student is enrolling in any of the schools, parents also look for is that school actually providing holistic development, not only the academics, right? So that way, even if the student is going for maybe the studying in the same school for 2 3 years, right? So the parents see how he's been progressing on his fitness level, Okay, so that is going to be the trend even in coming, maybe even now it is a trend in some of the schools, or some of parents keep watch out for how the student is progressing. Okay, the same thing going to happen even in next 10 years, right? Where the student, when before enrolling, they also look for in terms of how the fitness level is being transformed when the student joins till maybe after 2 3 years. So they look for that before even enrolling them. Okay, so definitely this will be given high priority because the kind of health issues or health diseases the everyone is getting these days because of whatever the reason. One of reason definitely be the physical fitness, right? So where if someone is not active, they get the chances of getting more diseases is more compared to the one who is very active.
So yeah, we have two extremes in India. One is malnutrition, another is obesity. So tackling that problem of obesity is very important now only because we are in the edge of increasing it in the upcoming decade. So yeah, so my next question to you is: many schools recognize the importance of physical education, yet it is often receive less attention than the academic subjects. What practical steps can school leaders take to build a culture where physical well-being is treated as an essential part of education?
Right. So the schools, if you see, right, you might have seen a lot of advertisement in the schools when they start promoting their schools, right? They always mention that, okay, my student got 580 of 600 marks. So that's how they project, right? So that's how they show that how good the school is. But nowhere in any of those uh, marketing pages, right, you can able to see how the school is performed in the sports, right? So that's something which because my son is in being in sports, right? I also look for the school who actually start promoting him in the sports area, not only the academy. The same is true for many parents. Okay, many parents wants to enroll their kid on the in the schools where they start promoting the sports as well, not only the academics. So the schools also have to prioritize in terms of showing that spend at least 1 hour for every class on any of those physical activity. It can be any game or a yoga or anything, right? Whatever, right? That actually helps them to deviate from all these screens, and also they can start projecting to when start maybe reaching out to the parents, right? They can provide they can showcase this one as one of their advantages as part of enrolling parents to their kid to the school.
Yeah, very rightly said. When schools advertise, they mostly show marks. Then integrating this and showing to the parents as well, that would be a very great strategy to schools to ensure to the parents that yeah, even we are focusing on physical activities. So yeah.
Right.
So my next question to you is: if you could give one practical recommendation each to parents, students, and school leaders for building a healthier and more active generation, what it would be?
Right. See, for the parent, right? So I being a parent, so whatever I tell to my kid or anyone, right? So they may understand what exactly I'm telling, but whereas if I start following that, if I am very active, if I start participating in sports or doing yoga, right, whatever, right? So once they see me as being active, right, they also start following. The same happens, right? So any kid, so rather telling them to start being active or not, right? So if you start following the same thing, okay, they also start following after maybe 1 month or 15 days, right? So and for the teachers or for the schools, right? So it is very much important. So they have to prioritize and showcase this one as one of their advantages. So definitely there are a lot of parents. So if you see, the parents are also more inclined in terms of enrolling their student in the school where the holistic development is provided, not only the social skills, cognitive skills, or academics, and also the fitness. Right, the fitness also there. That's one of reason why you can see there are many tournaments happen in the state level, right? But there are some schools who don't even participate, right? So, but whereas as a school, they need to start showcasing this as their biggest advantage in terms of the providing fitness or physical fitness to each and every student. So the providing opportunity or making each student to be active is a much better way of even communicating to the parent. Okay, rather telling that okay, top 5 students are very active, they can able to participate at state or national or whatever the level. Rather, all students has to be equally considered, and they need to start working on each and every student in terms of improving their fitness level.
Yeah, so as rightly you said, child's first school is home and first teacher is parents, and they can be molded the way we can mold like a clay in the earlier stage of their childhood. So integrating this fitness aspect in their life early would be, very easy to mold them and ensure that will develop as a discipline in their life to follow it, in their future stages of their life. So yeah,
Yep.
uh, thank you so much, Karunakar, for joining us on EduAdvice podcast and sharing your insights. So today's discussion highlighted that fitness is not just about sports or physical performance. It is closely connected to health, mental well-being, learning, and overall students' development. As education continues to evolve, creating healthier and more active learning environment will be essential for preparing students for the future. So yeah, thank you once again for your time, and we wish you continue your success in your efforts to transform physical education through innovation and technology. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Monica. Thanks for having me.